Hello, welcome back. Today I want to talk about film and I want to do it in the style of a video essay. So I talk about films a lot at home to my friends and family, and I thought instead of boring them anymore, I would talk about it on here where someone might actually want to listen. So today I'm bringing you my first video essay, and it is about a film that I saw last year, and it was probably my favourite film of last year, and that is the remake of It. I have so much to say about it that I might explode. If you know me, you'll probably be aware that when I take an interest in something, I talk about it a lot. Not in an obsessive way, just in a curious way. In this video, I want to talk you through some aspects of the film, split into 4 sections. Firstly, the friendship group and how that worked. Secondly, book references, followed by foreshadowing, and finally this extended metaphor that I noticed and thought was a bit cool. I was really nervous when I first went to see it, not because I'm scared of like horror films, but because I didn't know if I was scared of clowns or not. Like, they've never really creeped me out, but I didn't know how I was going to be able to take it. Like, I love Stephen King, but this is one of the stories I was less familiar with. But by the end, I was so immersed in this story that I'd completely forgotten about anything else that was going on in my life at that time, which I think is one of the first signs of a good film. That is why I went to see it twice and read the book and pre-ordered the DVD, because I'm so intrigued. It was a film that was very much an 80s one, despite being made like nearly 30 years since the 80s left us, and Andy Muschietti did a really good job of giving it the nostalgic vibe that the Duffer Brothers have been able to give Stranger Things. As you're aware, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his surname, but that's cool. If you're unaware, the group of pals in it are called the Losers Club, and they're all brought together because of different elements of the story. Part 1 of the remake was set in the 80s rather than the 50s, which I found very cool. They were able to reflect iconic clans from this era into this group. Because there were so many in the 80s, there was Stand By Me and there was the Goonies, and then there was obviously the Breakfast Club. And the Breakfast Club remind me a lot of the Losers Club in the sense that they didn't really choose to be friends. They were all in detention together. There's this athlete, the brainiac, the princess, the criminal, the basket case, and they all like get thrown into detention and then bond over certain things. And in the same way, the Losers Club were thrown together because they were all seeing their biggest fears come to life right in front of them, and the only way that they can stop it is by being together. The club consists of Bill Denborough, who is the leader, Richie Tozier, who's like the clown, even though he's scared of clowns, which is very interesting, and we could delve a little bit deeper with that, but we're not going to today. Eddie Kazmarek, who is a hypochondriac, and then Stanley Uris, who is obsessed with birds and is very quiet and reserved. And then later on they're joined by Ben Hanscom, and he is a future architect. And then Beverly Marsh joins them, and I think again it's very interesting that she's the only girl in the group, yet she's the only one who's not really scared, and she's the one who stands up for them in the end. I really like how much girl power there is with her character, like what a queen. And Mike Hanlon joins them, who is originally the writer of the group and is a farmer and is homeschooled. So he joins them and just tops it all off, really, just rounds it all up, and there they are, the group. They're all completely different in fear and in strength, but in the remake especially, they're able to play on one another's strengths to make this natural, strong group just seem to work. Let's talk about the book. So there's often a lot of flaws when a book is adapted into a film, but I really didn't see that here. There were some changes made, like Ben was the one researching Derry and not Mike. Mike was originally the one who recorded all their adventures and looked into things, whereas Ben was the one who pieced together all the kind of stuff that was going on this time. Henry Bauer's dad was portrayed as this controlling, stern police officer, whereas in the original he's like this crazy farm guy. Mike's parents are killed off, so we don't get to see the close relationship he has, especially with his dad. And Richie's voices weren't as prominent as they could have been. Like, his catchphrase is supposed to be Richie Tozier's the name, doing voices is my game. And they did add bits of it in, But I was a bit confused when I first saw it. I was like, why is he just randomly going into this accent? And then I understood after I'd read it, because that's literally where he makes his living later on. But I feel like they did it right in a sense by not making a big deal out of it, because that had the potential to be cringe, and they'd already avoided this by picking good child actors. Child acting is something that I can imagine is quite difficult when you work in film. There are countless films starring child actors that are just a little bit cringy, I won't lie. But the group they did choose, we can see like from Instagram and stuff, if you follow them on there, they are very close in real life. And so none of the jokes or the teasing or even like the sad supportive bits seemed forced, because they do genuinely seem to care about each other, which is really nice to see, because no one wants a on-screen friendship group who hate each other in real life. There were multiple close-ups of silver written on Bill's bike, and when I went to see the film with my friend, she asked about this and she was like, is there a reason that this is happening? Do we find out later on? And at that point I was unsure, but I found out after reading the book that the words, I think it's "hey yo silver away," are the only things Bill can say without stuttering. So the fact that they had this like subtle reference was clever, as was the turtle reference. So the thing called the voice of the turtle is quite prominent in the book. We don't hear of it in the film, but we do, because when they're at the quarry, one of them says, oh, there's a turtle down there, and Bill also is holding Georgie's Lego turtle, and then he drops it when he sees Pennywise. So I think this was a good way of them showing book references subtly without overdoing it and overcomplicating it, really. Foreshadowing. There is a lot of this in the new It film, and if you rewatch it, you will probably see this too. So when Bill and Georgie are making the boat, Bill says, he says like, oh, can you go and get this, else it won't float. That's obviously a massive indication as to what's to come. Something I noticed, which is getting slightly deeper, and I'm probably just overanalyzing everything, is that in Beverly's bedroom she has a program for the Frog Prince and it's on her keyboard, and I'm guessing that this is the play she kisses Bill in, which they talk about a lot. And if it is, then this theory is correct. If it's not, I've just overdone this whole thing. So let's just assume that this is the play she kisses Bill in. I picked up on this because when Ben goes into her bedroom, they do a panorama of it, and you see the program first and then you see his postcard, which I think is quite significant because it kind of shows that she got with Bill first before having feelings for Ben. But I don't know if this was obvious or I just picked up on it for no reason. But anyway, that's a fun thing to talk about. A couple of other things are that Pennywise's blood floats, and also Bill's parents are only involved in one scene, and that is one of conflict, which is again quite a subtle way of showing how badly their relationship deteriorated after Georgie's death, and links to the scene of him being like, going into this house is easier than going into my own. The use of placebos, like fake drugs, is very comical, but also links to Stan's theory of it all being fake. I'm going to end this by talking about the extended metaphor of growing up and age, which was used in the film. After their first time encountering Pennywise at Neibolt, the group go on a kind of break. They all grow up a little bit. Beverly's able to confidently enter the bathroom and like lay in the bath and just chill, whereas like a couple of weeks before it had been covered in blood. And Mike's able to kill a sheep, very significant because the first time we see him he can't do it. Stan is able to successfully read the thing at his bar mitzvah. I don't know what it's called. Bill can be surrounded by Georgie when he's at home. We see him sat in the kitchen and there's just pictures of him everywhere and he's just like fine with it, whereas his whole speech before they went into Neibolt was like, I see his stuff and it makes me really sad. He doesn't say that, but that's like along the lines of what he says. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I hope that it was sort of interesting. I just overanalyze everything. I just love it so much, and it's weirdly enough, I think for me, it's a feel-good film, even though it's like scary as. I just wanted to gather my thoughts on how it came to be so captivating for me. I'm aware that I missed like tons of stuff, but I would literally be sitting here talking all day. I actually could. I have a list up here of films and shows that I want to make videos on over the next year. If you have anything that you'd maybe want me to take a look at talking about, let me know somehow. This will certainly not be the last time I sit down and talk like this. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.